ready?
Sure.
It's ready to do this? All right. Well, welcome back to Two Homers and a Realist. We are back from hiatus, braving the threat of bad weather. We have been canceled because of weather. We've had a lot of stuff going on in our football program. We have a lot to talk about. I'm Steve.
I'm Lucas.
Jay.
Connor's not with us. Connor
He's still alive.
He's alive.
He's not with us tonight.
I haven't seen proof
well,
of
that's
life.
True. He hasn't,
don't
he hasn't
know.
texted in 2 hours.
Yeah,
So.
he usually texts like every 27 seconds. So Connor couldn't be with us. He's out of state. As far as we know, we can't really disclose that because he's wanted in many of the states he travels to. We don't want to give him up. But we are here in the off season. What's been going on? What's your feeling on the program?
Well, according to all the analysts, we're not a top 25 program anymore.
Oh, obviously.
Because, we don't have a quarterback that's ever taken a college snap.
Nope.
We don't have an offensive coordinator that's never done. He hasn't done anything in his career. Our head coach, who's never been a head coach, but he has no coaching experience whatsoever, apparently.
No, he's never.
And we lost all of our good players to other programs, allegedly.
Yep.
And we have nobody returning. And even though we were ranked in the top 10 in transfer incoming, we just don't have anybody, according to the pundits.
We were barely going to field a football team.
I mean, they're acting like we're going to be Boise State by next week.
Like we might not be able to legally have a travel squad kind of deal. Yeah. But from your facetiousness, I gather you're an optimist about the situation. You're pretty...
I mean, I haven't looked at the schedule hard enough, but I don't see why we couldn't go 9-3 or 10-2
in our sleep.
So to say that we're not a top 25 program is ridiculous.
Yeah, did you look at those top
absurd.
25 programs? I mean, as you get down, like, no one's saying that we should be out of the gate ranked in the top 5.
Right.
But
if you told
we
me
at least have potential to earn our way there.
We're between 13 and 19. I'd be like, okay, that seems reasonable. But to say we're not a top 25 team anymore is ludicrous, and those come from people that claim to be experts who obviously don't watch football.
Yeah, that's what's either they don't watch or don't pay attention to a lot of football. They're really not. They're just following the bright, shiny light, and that's not what you hire those journalists for. What you hire them for is to know the things that we all can't know as just novice fans watching from afar. Everyone knows Lincoln Riley left and went to USC. Everyone knows the Caleb Williams story. There's a little bit more to a football team than those two guys, and especially the guys that came in. To ignore that and act like that is not a material event is just absolutely absurd.
Yeah, you would think that, with Lincoln Riley leaving and freshman quarterback leaving, that, that's all we had. The whole program's just in shambles.
Yeah. Right, that's the only people that played. He played
the best program for the last 75
ways. years.
Just can't sustain a coach leaving and a freshman quarterback leaving.
Right. The freshman quarterback went 5-2 as a starter.
Just shut it down.
Right.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah. It'd be as if we had lost the bowl game like 60-0.
Yeah.
And just all of those players that played in that bowl game, save a few that are going to graduate, are all going to be back. Plus a great recruiting class, plus the transfers,
and the players leaving were either half underperformed,
right?
Yeah.
For sure, for expectations.
No, we're not losing. We're not going to have 10 guys drafted in the first round, or those guys that transferred away are going to be all Heisman Trophy contenders.
It's also funny that they seem to forget it's college football, and this literally happens every single season.
Right.
To every team.
To every single team.
Yeah.
Except
to one
it
degree
sounds like
another.
we're the only team that had players leave.
Right.
And important ones.
Yeah. Yeah, we're the only
And we got nobody in, like Lucas said.
Mm-hmm.
And our coaches are going to wing it. They'll come up with something.
Right.
You've had years where we've had a guy like Joey Galloway say Baylor's going to win the Big 12, 10 years ago, and he said it for 4 years, and they would win 3 or 4 games a year.
Right.
And now we're talking about not a single pundit's like, oh, yeah, OU should still be a top 15 team.
That's what's weird to me, too.
I don't understand.
It's clear that they have circled into a groupthink, and I think every one of them is scared to then be outside of that group for fear of ostracism from the group. Because, frankly, we won't know until October how good this team really can be. So if you put OU at 15, that's pretty defensible. But apparently in this group it's not. And especially if you put them as top 10, all of their peers would be mocking them and saying this is ridiculous. And it wouldn't be until October that he could point back and say, I told you so.
Yeah.
Here they are. And, of course, bad things can happen, and a team that should be top 10 doesn't end up being top 10. So there's a lot, I guess there's a lot to lose and little to gain. That's all I can think. I don't understand.
I'm going to love to start this season outside the top 25. Because
it's a great position to be in.
I don't know if you want to be out of the top 25 or like at the back end of the top.
I think in previous years when there was only 2 teams in the playoff, well, the 2 teams in the BCS championship game, you really need to start inside the top 15 or 20.
Right.
Because if you didn't, you're really screwed. You know, the year we won, we started 19.
Yeah.
In 2000.
Well, but you had 3, number 1, number 2, number 4, whatever opponents.
But in this day and age, with 4 teams making playoff. And generally, if you win your conference
title game,
if you win your conference title game and you don't have more than a loss,
well, I think Michigan was.
Michigan
might not have been in the top 25.
You're going to the playoff.
I think. I think
Michigan
wasn't.
I don't know.
They weren't that. Yeah, no, it's very capable.
But I think it's a good place to be. I think it's very easy.
I think it's good for Brent Venables.
It's great for Brent Venables and Smitty.
Motivation,
absolutely.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about Smitty. He can sit there and say, "You guys are not a top 25 team. You got to work out that much harder."
Yep.
That's pretty good. That's really good. The one place it could go south is if they start to self-doubt, if there is some dissension, they get into a tough spot. If we go to Lincoln in that it's the third game, right?
Yeah.
And if we struggle, if we happen to get beat, you could see a spiral a little bit. But that's a long shot risk, I think. Everything else is upside. And I think if you put truth serum in him, got him over to just talk frankly one-on-one, Venables would say, I'd rather be out of the top 25 than in the top 5 at this point. He might rather be in the top 25, but I think he likes the position versus where we've been over the past several years, where we're in the top 5, and all of us get these expectations that get completely unmet.
Was it Perion with Gabe and Teddy that said they felt that preseason pressure?
I didn't listen to the pod.
Oh, okay. I think he might have said that on there. Like he likes his dogs or his boys going into next season for the reasons that we're talking about now. Mm-hmm. And I think he even said like
underestimated as opposed.
We were just so hyped early on, and everyone felt a lot of pressure, etc.
You saw the way they played,
and even when I think he even said something like, even when we were 9-0, it was just this weird.
Well, we were a crappy 9-0 because we had barely beaten teams should have been better than.
Yeah,
Nebraska, West Virginia, Tulane. We've gone over that in the past podcast.
But yeah, that had to.
We underperformed
self-doubt.
And still were 9-0.
They knew there was trouble. I mean, shoot, yeah. I mean, everyone. We want Caleb. Think about the chance. Those chance. What game was that? West Virginia?
Yeah, it's like 4th, 5th game of the year. Something like that.
Wasn't Nebraska? I don't think.
I mean, it would be pre.
No, it was early.
It was West Virginia. It was
probably
West Virginia. That's early. That's a 4th game. That's really early to have that going on. So what a world of difference of where they stand today. I think with the recruiting classes they put together, obviously the coaching staff.
We haven't done a pod since signing day.
Right. So
we did a pod after the Brent Venables hiring and the plane trip and all that.
Yeah.
But to salvage a top 10 class is incredible.
Super incredible.
Especially when you have a couple of those guys literally go to Lincoln Riley and fall into USC.
Yeah, some of your best guys that would be the anchors, they're gone.
I mean, some of the guys
that would have came and didn't.
Well, not just go to him, but the other guys who went elsewhere.
Right.
So you lost several people that were in that class. So it's not just salvaging of adding enough to keep the top 10. You had to get back into the top 10.
Right.
That was incredible.
Yeah, they did a great job closing out those.
There's still one small chance that we get a 5-star defensive tackle. Overton, he reclassified from 23 to 22. Mm-hmm. His dad played at OU.
Yep, Milton.
So there's connection there, and then Clemson and them are recruiting him the whole time. Mm-hmm. And we're in his top 5. I mean, we're going to get a visit.
You have to
we'll know by like
got
April.
A pretty good shot at that, given those factors you mentioned. The father.
I think they're going to sell him on depth chart, and then of course, like you said, his dad, and playing for Bates and Venables.
Yeah, that's a key.
Venables' track record on putting defensive linemen in the league.
Somehow A&M is on the list because they're going to have 8 5-star defensive linemen in one class.
And that'd be 28 players, I think, or 29 that they've signed.
Right. Literally, he would. I think he would make the 5th 5-star defensive lineman for this class.
Well, that's incredible. They've done a great job. We'll see where they can.
According to Jimbo,
if they can do something with it.
It's just how hard the coaches have been working.
Oh yeah.
No money involved.
No.
They signed 2 5-stars.
You know there's money involved, at least indirectly, that's legal, and he won't even come out and say that.
He's so...
Jimbo's weird.
He's so programmed to hide it that now that it's in the open,
he didn't know how to do it.
He still feels a little too weird about it.
Right. It's one of those things where marijuana gets legalized and you're still hiding it. You don't know what you can do. So, what do we think about coming into this next season, which looks for all likelihood to still be in the Big 12? There's still a chance things could get reshuffled, but it's highly unlikely that it's not the Big 12 for OU this year. Fast forwarding then, looking ahead, do you think that OU is making the move to the SEC in 2023, or do you think it's later than that? What's your guess?
I think it's the 24 season.
You're going to guess 24? I think
24? We've got 2 more seasons in this Cracker Jack League with the horrible officiating.
What do you think, Jay?
I'm not really sure, because I've heard people talk about the math where it would be worth it. You'd be in the red for maybe 2 years, but you would make it back up by making the move. So, and I've heard they've told recruits
that's
the 23
I remember
season.
You saying that.
So I don't know. I don't know if the coaches would. I guess if it ended up being 24 instead of 23, you didn't really burn those recruits too bad.
Well,
now,
they probably are saying it differently.
If you're telling them we're playing in the SEC in 23, it ends up being 25. That's different, because that's a whole...
And that's just too bad it's already gone by then. I imagine the way they're talking to him, because keep in mind, they're not at the negotiating table. So they're from the outside looking in, or somewhere in that middle ground. They're probably saying something to the effect of, we're hearing there's a good chance it's 23. Yeah. I can't make a promise. I don't know, but we're thinking 23.
And that gives the coaches an out, because they're not straight lying to the parents.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that means that the other teams are telling them the same thing, right?
Could be.
OU's telling you 23, but they don't know, man. It could
I don't
be
think they would. I think
27.
that'd be a bad marketing move, because I think they would keep putting OU in the spotlight and would make it where, why are we talking about OU? You're here from wherever you're from. Why aren't you talking about your school? So I think it's still a very compelling story. I'm going to guess 23. I'm going to say that's my guess right now. I think there's just too many reasons it needs to get done. I don't even know if it's in the red situation, because I think it gets done from all sides of the equation. I think that the existing Big 12 teams, the Irate 8, plus the new guys coming in, I think they're going to want to get things rolling in their direction. I think that they'll understand with the football playoff contract coming up that they need to get everything in line so that there's 12 teams, because they see the future and know they need 12 teams in the playoff if they're going to have a chance of the Big 12 being a part of that. And at the same time, then the SEC sees the same thing. So I just think there's a lot of reasons that momentum continues and it gets done sooner rather than later, and maybe very amicably, where there isn't really any settlement to go around. Everybody's just happy. There's maybe a little bit of money that goes one way or the other, but it's not anything like these colossal payouts.
Does it go down the closer it gets to the...
I think so. I think
sure
the pure math goes down.
So instead of $60 million, it might be $27 million.
Yes,
the
something.
year after, it's like $15 million or something.
It may be a per year. It's going to be because it's the amount of the contract that you're getting out of. But I would imagine it starts to be, because OU and Texas can play hardball too. They can say, no, we're not expanding this league. We don't want these guys in it. And they're going to say, we need in it. They're not going to have a home anymore if they don't play their
but that's
cards
only 2
right.
votes against the other 8.
I don't know how many it takes to get it dissolved, though. 2 might be enough vetoes. I don't know.
I know there's been fun talk about divisions again.
Right.
And putting OU and
Texas in separate ones.
Yeah.
Which
in
different ones.
to make sure they couldn't play each other.
No,
right?
No, you put them in separate.
So we have to use one of our non-conference slots to play each other.
Oh, I thought it was so we could not match up in
honestly,
the Big 12 championship game.
The math might work out just fine. No. They don't want us to play. They want us to burn.
They don't want the regular season.
Game. So that might just be fine. We did it before. And
I'll skip playing Texas for a year. Who gives a shit?
No, I think we'll skip playing Tulane or whoever.
To play Texas.
Western Carolina, we'll play Texas, and I think that'll be...
we did it for 80 years or whatever when they were in the Southwestern Conference.
So that seems like a typical Bob Bowlesby playing checkers while everyone else is playing chess kind of
He doesn't
move.
realize that could be that could happen.
Well,
we don't schedule them in conference. They can't play each other. Yeah, idiot.
He's such an idiot. So
hell, the Big 12 plays, like OU plays OSU in baseball
right
early in the season, and it's not a conference.
And it's not a conference game.
They play an out-of-conference OU OSU baseball series in February or March here the last couple of years, and then they play their regular Big 12 season games during the season.
Yep.
Which is super weird.
It is weird,
but it doesn't count towards conference wins and losses.
No, it's just like the other sports.
So with the OU Texas game, it wouldn't count as a conference win or loss.
It wouldn't. How about that? Wouldn't that be crazy?
And then it'd be hilarious if they both ended up in the Big 12
as a result, yes,
final,
that'd be the really funny thing if they both get in the championship game.
Yep.
Just putting an exclamation point on how this whole damn league is OU in Texas.
I think Baylor's going to be good this year.
So let's talk about that.
I don't know why they couldn't be.
They lost a bunch.
Aranda's a good coach.
They did lose a bunch. They recruited pretty well, if I remember right.
For Baylor, they did well, yeah. And I think Aranda and them probably identify people really well.
So I think they've got a chance to be pretty good. I think he's a great coach. I think the team being completely overrated is Oklahoma State. They lost their entire defense, basically. They lost their defensive coordinator, and their defense was who they were this past year.
And their quarterback's
They've been slipping for a long time. Their quarterback is a guy that everybody should wish would graduate and go away. So I think they overachieved this year magnificently. I just don't see them being very good. It is a weak league. A lot of things can happen, but they may be the Iowa State coming into 2022 of what they were.
Yeah, Iowa State could plummet.
They could really plummet.
They had everything back last year.
Yeah.
I mean, last year was a real disappointment.
This might be.
As an Iowa State fan, last year was bad.
They were calling Purdy a generational quarterback for Iowa State.
Oh my God.
Kohler could be a generational tight end for them.
Yeah.
But not
tight end.
Purdy.
It's like the weakest contributor on offense.
So
typically.
conference-wise, I mean, it's literally probably that's the
I mean,
other
imagine
thing.
how we would feel if
That's the other thing that really pisses me off about this top 25 thing. When you take into account what the Big 12 conference has coming back,
and who would be playing.
Baylor's going to be the top 15 team probably.
Right. And then what?
OSU's
they really did.
OSU's decent.
Yeah, they're not ranked in these guys' top 25.
Texas is Texas.
But name another team outside of us.
In fact,
so Big 12's going to have one team in the top 25.
So who are we talking about specifically? Stuart Mandel, and the more recent one was...
I saw 3 different people that did
there's been a bunch.
So they,
like
as
you
far
said,
as I remember,
a group thing
I don't know
almost.
if they've got more than 2 teams from the Big 12 in the top 25.
Yeah, they've got like Baylor and OSU.
Which, OSU wasn't in several of them.
Is Texas back?
Texas.
Did I miss it? Is Texas back?
Well, Texas is back.
They got the best quarterback in the country. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they weren't in it.
That guy that was the star of Ohio State?
TCU. TCU was in it. And
why would TCU be in it?
I agree. That shows how out to lunch they are.
They got a brand new coach with no head coaching experience.
I guess if those...
Who's their head coach?
No, he came from SMU.
Sonny Dykes. Yeah. If they're saying that these are the top 25 teams, this is not my prediction of the final top 25, I'll give them an out on not having more than a couple Big 12 teams in it. But just by nature, there's going to be a couple, 3, 4 Big 12 teams.
We had 3 in the top 10 going into the final week of the season.
Exactly.
Until we lost in Bedlam. But it was OU, OSU, and Baylor were all 3 in the top 10.
Yeah. Well, all 3 probably finished in the top. I don't even remember looking at the final rankings, but all 3 won our bowl games.
Yeah.
So,
I thought we finished like 13 or something like that.
No, I think we were in the top 10.
Yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah, we did it again.
And both of them did.
I love that Blinken Riley stat, by the way. Texas A&M has finished in the top 10, I don't know how many times. It was ridiculously low. I don't want to say because people say that's wrong, but it was a very, very low number. And then these only return on OU was OU has finished in the top 10 more than they finished out of the top 10 in their history. That's amazing. So,
but they just signed the best recruiting class in the history of recruiting.
Football.
Because coming off 8-4, that's what teams do.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I going into next season, it is really a wide open race. I will say, I'm not going to say Texas is back, but I do think they are probably a team to watch out for.
I think
they've got a lot of talent. They've got.
I don't think they're going to go 5-7, but I still don't think they're going to go 9-3.
I'm afraid. I think they might. I think they might be 8-4. I'll go with 8-4. But I think they're on the rise. I think
who they have there out of conference this season.
Yeah, that's Alabama.
I do think
they're gonna
Alabama.
They're gonna beat the Crimson Tide.
The crazy thing with Texas is I do think they're probably on the rise. I do think Sark is probably better than Herman.
I do too. Low bar,
they still just... Man, do they underachieve. It's
They're just...
incredible.
It's phenomenal. It's a great business story.
Now, again, we all
all right, here we go.
Think about Casey Thompson, right, as being just an okay quarterback, but we're all putting this on this millionaire high school kid that's never played any ball and is just going to walk right in and just light the league on fire. Yeah. I don't know.
We've got University of Louisiana Monroe.
That he struggled with last year.
Yeah. We got Alabama.
Definitely losing.
I don't know where that game's at.
Hopefully it's in Texas.
It's not at Alabama, but is that a
Jerry's
World? It doesn't say on here.
I don't know. No, wait. Slow down.
Yeah.
Do you think it matters?
No. UTSA. They go.
They're like 12-1 last year.
Watch out. Yeah.
Watch out.
At Tech.
Okay. At Tech. Okay.
We don't know what that coach is going to do.
And weird things happen in Lubbock.
West Virginia at home. Our game.
Gosh, they're going 1-5.
Iowa State at home. On the road at OSU. They probably lose that one. They don't play very well in Stillwater. Actually, Mike Gundy's kind of had Texas' number in the last 10 years.
He has, but it's Texas. Kansas has had their number.
At K-State, they've definitely struggled against K-State.
And K-State, so I will respect K-State and K-State's program.
K-State get Martinez?
More so than...
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they got Martinez from
Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll respect them more than I'm going to respect Oklahoma State.
TCU at home. At Kansas, that's a loss. And Baylor at home. I can see 8-4 in that schedule. I don't see 10-2 in that schedule.
No. I mean, that would be a phenomenal overachievement, and that's Coach of the Year honors if he would have to.
He would have to.
A lot of stuff has to happen.
Really play well as a
lot of stuff has
first-time starter.
Yeah, you're talking about a true, not a true freshman, redshirt freshman.
I mean, their defense is
but
horrible.
Not redshirted in that program, which is key.
Right. I don't know how many they got coming back, but their defense is horrible. So even if they got 8 guys coming back on defense,
this league
that doesn't
mean
anything.
Weak. This league is just so weak.
Which makes it even that much more frustrating for this past season.
I think it's going to be the same story in 2022 that it actually was in 2021, although it didn't play out this way, that it was who's going to be the other team that's going to play Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship. And it absolutely should have been that story, and it almost was that story.
They call it pass interference at the end of the game.
Exactly.
First and goal from 2 to 25 seconds left.
I think you're going to see that again.
There is still not a team, maybe not even Texas, that player for player has more talent than we do. So
no, exactly.
I mean, as long as Venables and Levy and all them can put together a competent game plan and
team I respect
personnel.
In Baylor, we get them at home. Oklahoma State, we get them at home. You have to go to Lubbock.
At Nebraska is going to be a tough game, I think.
That will be a tough game.
It'll be a tough game.
Go to West Virginia and to Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
What's the chances that Brent Venables is a better clock manager than Lincoln Riley?
Well, that's a low bar.
It's got to be 90% chance, right?
Absolutely.
if for
no other reason.
I bet he's too focused. I bet he might even have a guy.
No, I think
that's
actually it's the other way. He's going to be the guy who can do it because he's not calling plays. Either side of the ball.
I think he'll be so in tuned at first. I think
he's going to call offense?
I think he's calling defense. No,
well, I don't think he's calling defense.
Well, defense doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about the clock management
the
same.
So, yeah, you do.
Some, but
you
not the same.
You decide when to call timeout towards the end of the game.
Not the same as on offense. If you're calling offense, that's really key, and that's where Lincoln really screwed up.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
That's true. It'll help.
And I think he'll be a better manager. And what he'll do is he'll think, I need to have somebody tell me when to call a damn timeout. So, I think he'll definitely be a much better clock manager.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting because, I mean, he needs a get-back guy, right? All these years.
I wonder if he still will.
Yeah, as a head coach, can you really need a get-back guy?
Well, if you remember, Bob
would yell at some defenses.
But he changed.
Early on.
So, what they like to say, and I never really watched him at Florida, but I think this was in his book, and he's definitely talked about it, that he knew he had to change his demeanor when he became a head coach. That you couldn't be the way he was as a coordinator. And he said he used to be just like Mike.
That's because he had a pit bull. He had a pit bull, his brother on the sideline,
two pit bulls
yelling their heads
so,
off. So,
I don't know. It'd be interesting to say. I would imagine he's a lot more
He's super
restrained.
Intense. I don't think he can stop that.
But I don't think he'll be in the same way because it won't be. he will have that guy who's running his defense.
Yeah.
And I think, if anything, he'll be on that guy. It'll be a get back from attacking that coach, not from getting on the field.
Now, is Roof going to be in the box, or is he a sideline guy?
I bet he's in the box.
I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. So many interesting things.
What's funny with Roof, the internet likes to make a whole bunch of jokes, all of the OU websites and stuff about Roof, but from all accounts, he's just like a super great guy, nice guy. The recruits have really liked him. He has bounced around a lot, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. He's worked with a lot of different staffs.
He's not like he's getting fired everywhere he goes.
I think he is definitely a Venables. I think he picked him because he knows he's not a yes man, but Venables is going to sit down with him all week and run a game plan, and Roof's going to follow through.
I don't want him to be Ruffin McNeil. That's what I'm afraid of.
I bet he is right now.
As long as he's not Ruffin McNeil.
I think he is. No. I don't think he's Ruffin McNeil. I don't think he's washed up. I just think
he's more intellectually talented.
Ruffin McNeil wasn't Lincoln's offensive coordinator, right? You see, so I think they'll game plan together. He'd trust Roof to make calls, and Venom was going to hear the calls. And if he hears something that, if Roof's doing something he's not wanting to do, he will definitely chime in and let whoever needs to know. But I think it's a comfortable hire for a couple years, and someone like Bates is going to get he's going to be DC. Yeah.
Speaking of play calling, I've always wondered, the NFL now, the last 7 or 8 years, has the helmet speakers. Quarterback gets them. And he gets the calls from offensive coordinator.
I love this too.
It cuts off 15 seconds left on the play clock, or when they break the huddle. It cuts off, so they can't tell them to audible and stuff
or
like
reads. Show them who's.
And then the defense, it's either linebacker or safety. Generally, it's a Mike linebacker.
Yeah.
And it's the same situation. It cuts off with 15 seconds left, or when they get the line of scrimmage, whatever. At what point in college football will we get to that? Is it strictly a technology issue with cost? Because there's so many colleges.
I don't think that'd be a problem.
So either.
And that would have been the case with instant replay, and it was for a while, and now we have it everywhere.
It can't be that expensive.
It can't possibly be that expensive.
It's a microphone and a speaker.
Yeah. Well, at the very end, I guess you could say if everyone can't afford it, we're not going to do it. But come on, it can't be that expensive.
I think.
Are we 5 years away from it? Or
the other schools would say, we'll do it.
Okay, we'll pay for it. We'll pay for your stuff.
You're
that's
right.
fine because we want it. We'll pay for it.
Yeah,
you're right.
To get rid of the signs and the whole.
I agree, because I think all that stuff, it's distracting. It's degrading to the sport, if you will, and I really don't like the idea of stolen signals, and the idea that we have to disguise it the way that they do. And that's going to get intercepted. I think that's just
Jeff Lebby has experience
very
with that,
frustrating.
Coming on the
we don't know this. We don't know that.
It just seems silly. It just seems a very antiquated way of doing it.
Absolutely.
The Houston Astros found out a way to cheat with buzzers
with
and
trash cans
and banging trash cans. What's to stop somebody from doing an Apple AirPod but flesh colored and put it in the quarterback's ear? And you've got your offensive coordinator upstairs just talking into his ear.
Do you think anyone's done that?
And you get up to the line of scrimmage and you say, hey, that weak side linebacker's blitzing. You need to audible to this and throw it to the other side.
Who would have done it, and do you think anyone's done that?
I would do it.
You're pathetic. You're an awful, awful person.
Do
you think anyone's done it, and who would have done it?
I would be surprised if at some level, high school, how would a referee... Until the quarterback gets on the sideline and takes his helmet off. But if it's flesh colored, it could be very concealable. If they don't do it in the helmet.
Right.
At some level, I'm not sure. At a major university, I think it's pretty dangerous just because every game matters so much. And if you were caught, that game for sure would not count.
Right.
No, I think you're right. I think it's the ones
or there's so many. I guess there's so many cameras around on the sideline with fans.
There'd be two things.
It'd be too costly.
Yeah. So it's not the ones with a lot to lose, and it's not the ones who are under a lot of scrutiny. It would be at some sub-level of college football who's trying to get like USC, who's trying to get to a bowl game, or some lower division college, and it could be somebody gambling. And you're not going to gamble on Alabama. You're going to gamble on Toledo versus
Bowling
nobody.
Green.
Exactly. Yeah. Or at a high school level even.
Yeah.
And you might really see that there, where you could see a coach, he's trying to make it and trying to get to the next level or whatever. So the incentive structure is better for that. I would imagine it's happened.
The problem with high school is that kid would never keep that secret.
Yeah, I've always thought why you couldn't say you lose a player like I don't know. I couldn't think of.
It'd be too cool though.
Say you had a guy like Zach Sanchez or something, really good in college. Maybe he doesn't get drafted to go to the pros, so he's just done with football. But he was good in college.
Yeah.
What's to stop somebody from just suiting him up in another player's jersey?
Nah.
And going out there. I mean, if you found guys that look similar enough, those referees, when they're wearing helmets,
but the whole team would know. That's even worse with his. I
don't know that the referees would know the difference.
No, I don't think the referees have any
idea. The whole
idea.
Team would know the difference, and they're not keeping that secret.
Well, also, how many people watch him like, God, this number 12, he's
right.
Why is this guy's? Where did he been all season?
Is that your son? Yeah.
Well, Zach Sanchez wasn't a great.
First interview, like,
Coach, he was really good. But
Coach,
I'm saying,
why hasn't number 12
if you had a guy that was
field
just serviceable
till now,
graduated,
I don't believe. Okay, I will believe the.
I mean, you're not putting Adrian Peterson and saying he's Kennedy Brooks. I'm not saying that.
I would no. I would believe the use of technology to illegally put plays in there, etc. I would believe in espionage. I would not believe in the substitute player theory. Or
I'm just looking for ways to improve this program.
Because
we're not in the top 25.
The technology I could see in college.
Because that's 1-1.
I think a college
I think in high school, too. I could see it in big-time high school.
I think a college quarterback
Here's why he's going
to
keep
get to
that
the next level.
Because he wants to get to the next level.
Yes.
A high school quarterback wants to get to the next level.
Yeah.
There's $10,000 and your chance to get there and be in your... I could see it happening.
I think the reason they probably won't do it anytime soon is the regulation of... The NFL is so regulated that they know that speaker's cutting off at 15 seconds on the play clock, or as soon as they break the huddle, that somebody in the NFL is watching to make sure.
Right, and you have to have
with
personnel for that.
130 college football teams,
okay, so let's say
you can't have that much overwatch on it.
I mean,
Big Brother.
It'd be hard. It'd be more expensive.
I'm not even completely sure why it even cuts off. I mean, I'm fine with it cutting off, but
because they don't want the guy up in the box identifying a different coverage than the quarterback.
But your guy in the box is doing the same thing.
And it's no different than if your quarterback looks to the sideline and you're telling him this is the coverage.
You can tell him everything you want. You're like, hey, watch the safety. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, because he can say specifically, hey, DeAndre Hopkins has got single coverage. And that safety's going to cheat to the left.
That's probably what this is. That's probably what this is.
Yeah.
You got single coverage.
Not for individual players.
Wide receiver, single coverage.
I don't know. I don't think it's that in depth.
I don't think it's that different. But it's possible. So we're just saying what should or shouldn't be legal in regards to the medium of getting the information to the guy. So I could see it getting to the point where they don't cut off. Or
the only difference, I guess, is the quarterback doesn't need to relay information to others about something that's advantageous. He just
needs to execute
He just knows it, right?
Or he needs to signal that receiver go deep, whatever.
But he might not need to. He might just need to look at this guy first. Maybe he was your third read.
Right.
Make this your first read now. But defensively, to make a change, you've got to let
tell everybody.
Because the middle linebacker, knowing that, this guy's going deep now.
So with the already a lot of advantages for offense versus defense in the game, would make it even worse.
It might, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. That dovetails with something we don't have time for
or
tonight.
Cut the offense off and keep the defenses on.
I want to talk about different rule changes we'd like to see implemented. That'll be something for a future pod. So be thinking about different rule changes that you'd like to see implemented. But that wasn't. I've always liked that idea of
college doing the
earpieces.
Yeah.
But I never thought about substituting a player. That's pretty ingenious.
I've thought about that for 20 years.
Yeah, I have to.
Because I just thought if you just had
you've seen
a
too
guy
many
with
80s
the same
movies.
A guy with the same complexion and body type, but
well, in the 80s,
he's a graduating senior.
Movies.
Yeah,
and your next position to fill as a sophomore. You just let that dude play out. Maybe just in big games, you bring back Stephen Parker at safety instead of
But just enroll the kid in school with fake credentials.
And what was that Deion Sanders commercial? It was like Deion Saunders or something like that. And there was
with the visors.
There was a commercial where Deion had like a Jerry curl or something like that, and Jerry Rice did one too. It was like Jerry Reese or something. Yeah. And they just had like a wig on or something.
So it has been done.
Yeah.
Well, So we got the spring game coming up. I haven't said it yet.
Love to be on a Friday. Probably.
Who votes for Friday?
I
we
vote
vote
for
right
Friday.
now. Three votes for Friday. I love the Friday. I thought that was really
7
cool.
7 p.m. on a Friday would be.
I thought that was awesome.
Especially since they don't last very long because
I don't think it's going to happen.
They cut them short to where they're only like 2 hours now.
I know they basically only have one half. Now we don't know how Britt Venables is going to do his.
Yeah.
But there's two aspects. One is, I think they know it's going to be really well attended. So I think they're going to want to maximize attendance.
I mean, there's an online push to get full attendance just to show USC and everybody how important football is.
85,000 out there.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I think if they did it free, you could maybe get 70,000. But
it'd be worth it too.
$10 you're going to get 55,000 maybe.
And if you open it up like a whole,
if it's good weather,
go ahead and tailgate.
So there's the other aspect is Baker's getting his trophy dedicated or his statue dedicated. So I don't think they're going to want to do that at night. They're going to want that to be the show. But I don't know. You do the math and you say if we do let all of these people in for free, then when we sell them concessions, open up all the concessions. You plus the marketing of what you're doing. I mean. Or even if you cut it to $5 or whatever it needs to be, I think you can get it done.
Don't they do an early bird $5?
They do.
They do a $10 after the cutoff or whatever.
So I think it'll be the most attended OU spring game ever. I think
I'll be there.
I'm going to be there.
It's always weather permitting.
Yeah, that is true. I wonder if Connor will be there. We don't know about him anymore. We don't know his dedication.
No, I didn't mean for me being there. I just meant
the
attendance of.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because idiots like us will go watch anything at the
right. We've been there cold, freezing.
But
it's actually rained.
He ran against Kansas.
Your average.
No, I mean spring games.
Spring game. Yeah. I thought you just meant weather averse.
If it's decent weather.
Games.
Yeah, let's go out. We'll go see some of the new players, whatever. But
yep. But it'll be a totally different vibe this year. It's going to be interesting to see how spring practice goes. That gets kicked off not too late, not too far into the future.
I think this week is the first week that the position coaches get to see what they've got, basically.
Wow.
And then they have to stop.
Yeah.
Again for I don't know, it's weird rules.
They run away and hide.
I mean, it's just strength and conditioning after that.
And I think Smitty's been doing kind of a build up on taking it to the guys.
That's cool.
That's what it sounds like online.
Did you see what they all got yesterday or the day before? Venables was giving a speech in the main conference room where all the players, and he was saying something about the locker rooms were dirty and we're going to go scrub them clean and all this stuff, and was like giving them a rah-rah, like, we got to go get this place cleaned up, it's filthy in there and whatever. So the players all walked down the hall to the locker room, and then they all got brand new bags of this thing called
that's
crap.
Cool.
I can't remember the name of it.
It sounds like Norman almost. It's like
like
robotics or something.
It's recovery. It's those leg sleeves that you put in that like freeze your legs out or whatever.
And they like do full total massage. They're like $1,500, $2,000 a piece.
Should I get the wife some?
Yeah. Every single player got one.
Okay.
And they're for their recovery after training and probably after games too.
Oh, nice.
I think it's for even for warm up too. Like get your muscles warmed up.
I don't know if it's just if it's cold or warm. I don't know.
That's cool.
I know.
And they also got these like hand massagers too.
Okay.
That you just
apparently it's a big deal. It's expensive.
Yeah, the players flipped out about it.
I'm sure it probably
they
is.
Were stoked.
I bet this is some heavy duty stuff that they're gonna love. That's cool.
I don't know who paid
they're
for
on
it.
board.
It's SEC.
I'm guessing
University would.
For it.
Yeah. They probably can bill it under. Like, I don't know exactly what the limitations are, but if it goes to the entire team, they got a lot more leeway. And then if it's health related,
it's a strength conditioning situation.
Exactly. Yeah. Then they can.
It's like buying new barbells.
It's like barbells full of gold. You know.
So that was pretty neat to see.
That's cool.
Oh, you put that out yesterday.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I missed that.
Or today, it might have been today. I can't remember. All the days are running together.
Yeah, no kidding. This is kind of the weird dead period.
Yeah.
We got basketball going on, but they keep disappointing us.
Man, I thought after we went to that Florida game,
I know.
We were sitting down low. The team was so physical.
Yeah.
They were jiving. It was awesome. And then
they had their moments.
Pretty well. I mean, they beat Arkansas.
They beat Texas Tech. They keep having these disappointing losses.
They went 0-2 against Texas and 0-2 against Kansas.
They're the only team in the country to beat 4 top 15 teams or something.
Something like
weird.
that.
So they went 0-4 against Kansas and Texas.
Yeah.
But 3 of the games were by less than 3 points or less.
We are the Nebraska of basketball.
But let's not talk about what happened at Fog Allen because the free throw disparity.
Oh,
you didn't get a foul called
Yeah.
for them for the last 14 and a half minutes of that game.
The call.
But it's always been like that at Kansas.
Yeah.
But to lose that game by
No.
2 or 3 points.
1 wasn't it?
Was it 1? I don't remember.
It was. There was a
it's
call
annoying.
very, very late that just was stunningly bad. But I tell you, in that game last night, there were several calls there were some bad calls, but there were also missed calls. They could have called stuff on us and they didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm still not completely sold on the full conspiracy of the refs, but it just could be really crappy officiating.
Well, football was blatant.
There were a couple of things that
Basketball
seemed pretty blatant. I would agree.
Just gonna be bad.
But-
I don't know.
And it'd be interesting to track those specific officials and see if they're always that bad or if they could be detected to have a true OU bias, anti-bias. But it's been frustrating. I guess the women's basketball team's doing real well. She was a late finalist for the Naismith Award is it Naismith for best coach? What do they call it?
No, I don't think it's Naismith.
It's
It's
probably
probably
some name
the,
like that. I think it was Naismith, but that's the Players Award.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Is it the Pat Summitt or something?
no,
I don't know what they
maybe
call it.
I misread the tweet, but I
Coach
saw the
or for
tweet for
player?
coach.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm.
Maybe it is.
Hey,
But-
I want to give this company their due because
All right.
we couldn't just say we don't know who it is. Normatec Pulse 2.0 leg system.
Oh,
That's
the
not the name of the
2.0.
That's the 2.0.
They got
That's
the
not
2.0.
the name of the company. That's the name of that specific product. I looked it up. Yeah.
Hyper Rice. Hype Rice? No.
Sounds like a money
It's something
laundering
along
outfit.
those
Their
lines.
website. Oh. No.
It is the 2.0 though, because I've got the 1.7.
I
and
know,
it
we're
wasn't
sounding
nearly
like
as good.
olds
I
right
tweeted
now.
it earlier.
Is that on the internet?
Look at the old Twitter.
Yeah, I'm dialing up right now. I don't know. It says.
Call them. Just call them.
I mean, it
and
says
see.
Normatec all over it.
Call them like an old person would.
It says it all over it.
That's what that product
Well, they're
is
probably not
called.
going to be a sponsor. So
I
who
think it's
cares?
like Hyper Ice, if I remember correctly.
Hyper Ice.
Hyper Ice. Yeah, Hyper Ice.
Hyper Ice is the
Hyper
name of the company.
Hydroponics.
Normatec.
It's no
Hyper.
water.
Okay, the company's
That's
Hyper
no
Ice, and that specific product is called the. What'd you just call it?
Normatec Pulse.
Normatec
2.0.
Yeah, and it's for some kind of. It's for recovery.
I think
It's cutting edge compression
I
technology.
think it's 2.0.
It's not 2.0.
It's like a .com.
Compression technology. Anyway, it's for training recovery,
Yep.
and
Back in my day, we just put a little ice on it. We just walked it off.
I mean NFL players have used it.
Oh, well then it must be good.
And with the name Hyper Ice, it sounds like something like instead of going to a cold tub necessarily,
Right.
you literally just sit on your couch and put these things on your legs,
Supposed to just
and
draw,
they come all the way up to your
reduce
thigh.
swelling or something?
Yeah, that's what it's for.
Ice is supposed to be bad.
I
Ice,
don't know. It's called Hyper Ice. But
ice is it's one of the myths.
it says combination restorative massage and zone boost technology, proven to decrease pain and soreness
Proven.
after workouts,
proven.
and help you maintain your full range of motion, leaving you fresh so you're always ready to give it your all.
Oh yeah. Well, who couldn't doubt that marketing message?
So, check it out on OU Marauders Twitter.
How much is it?
I believe it was like $1,200
It's
or
like-
$1,300
Yeah, it's expensive.
for the set. And that came
There
with a
you go.
massager of some sort too.
Well, pretty good.
Probably cut them a deal when you order 100 of them.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
So.
cut them down to 1,000. Just a quick $100,000 order.
That's
Not a big deal.
a big box they come in.
Yeah, that's what all the players got was that big box.
That's cool.
So,
Well, good to see they're
It's gonna
getting
put us
some.
over the top, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now, send that forward.
they need that
to,
after Schmitty workout.
to Stewart and those others, the national
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
to,
show 'em what
now
we've
they'll,
got here.
Now they'll say we're in the top
And they
25.
say, "Oh, Alabama's had that for 7 years. That's why they're so good."
That's the whole secret. It has nothing to do with that Nick Saban guy.
Yeah. Any other news
Nothing
regarding
that,
football?
No other news that I can think of, but Jay's the news.
Jay's a
man.
recruiting guru.
No, it's slow. I mean,
Other
everything's
than-
done besides
we
the
lost
Overton
Gabe
kid.
Dindy was a big loss.
You know, I think he hurt his knee.
And we
already.
lost. Raleek Brown was a bad
Oh, really?
loss.
Yeah.
Really just had a kid, so it was like dicey anyways. He had like a newborn, but he was still going to come out here and play for
Well,
Lincoln. But
Mario Williams
so it worked out good for him.
did too, and he moved further away from his kid.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a kid. That's funny.
That's true. When he left, he was talking about getting closer to home.
Yeah, closer to home. So he moved 1,500 miles further away, or however many miles it is.
In his defense, he's not super smart, and so he may not have realized that he was going the wrong way.
I can't wait to see McCutcheon.
That funny tweet. Did you see the McCutcheon tweet?
Which one?
He said, "I didn't get fully vaccinated to have to wear my mask everywhere I go."
Yeah. Welcome to Los Angeles.
Someone put buyer's remorse.
That's
or something.
Did anybody today see the
LA Rams?
LA Ram parade?
I did. Yes. Sad.
Which was right by the USC campus.
Sad. I know. It's awesome.
We had more people greeting Brent Venables.
At the airport. At the airport. I saw your tweet
than
on that.
the LA Rams did.
Yeah.
At their Super Bowl celebration parade.
I would have.
It was a 1 mile stretch.
If I was running that, I almost would have been like, you know what, guys, let's just.
When they said
get everybody closer.
When they set it up, it was literally people were like, "This is only a 1 mile stretch that they're doing," and people were like, "It's gonna be a madhouse." I'm a huge Chicago Blackhawks fan, and when they won 3 Stanley Cups, and they packed the entire city of Chicago, the parade route was crazy long, and I think there was like 600,000 people along the parade route or something. It was some insane number that just lined all the streets of the Magnificent Mile and stuff in Los Angeles. In Chicago.
It's the Mecca.
It was like the Mecca. It was like 80 people deep all the way around.
And that shows you the difference between
sports,
among many things. Well, no, it's also the cities and the team that's been in, the Rams haven't been in LA for a long time, and all of a sudden they're back for a few seasons.
But it's also known that they just don't have hardcore
But it's
sports
just
fans
the way that
but the Mecca
Los Angeles
is
the Mecca. Yeah, they're gonna. That's a good one. That's a good one. So you might have seen Lincoln Riley's tweet about here's all the schools that have had a higher percentage of capacity attendance since 2013 than USC, and it goes on for 2. He has to
they were
do
like
it
80
extended,
something in or something, or 65
to 2 different tweets. So
there were schools like Boston College.
Everyone's on the list. Yeah. Everyone. I mean, so that's a good question.
And the
How
NASCAR
many
race,
people do we think they'll actually get? And that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
The NASCAR race to Coliseum, it wasn't a third full for that thing.
How fast can a NASCAR get in 100 yards? That's so stupid.
Well, somebody said something weird too. The university does not.
They don't own
that
football stadium.
That stadium.
No, it's a city.
So they have to do all kinds of stupid stuff like that at the Coliseum.
They don't have to.
And it's hard to upgrade.
Yeah.
The place
why does
you're not
want to pay to upgrade something they don't own?
Right. Yeah, you're in a weird negotiation with the city of trying to figure out who's going to pay for this.
It's true.
So that'll be interesting. I guess we should go and look up what their attendance was and make some predictions about what we think it's going to be.
I mean, they're definitely going to have a huge bump.
Yeah, they'll have an initial bump.
What's a bump? What's a huge bump? Percentage-wise.
I'd have
Will they
to see,
double?
What does the stadium hold?
No, I don't think they'll double.
What's the stadium hold?
Like 100.
100,000?
Maybe 90,000.
So let's say hold 90, and they were only getting 35 or 40.
I'll look it
I
up
could see it. I mean, I don't know how to look up their average attendance for this season, but surely it's got to go up by 30%.
Well, I don't know what California's doing with attendance right now either.
Well, they were all.
This past
by
year.
then they'll be.
But I mean, this past year, like to look up statistics.
Right, you wouldn't want to look at the past. Yeah, that's true.
You might look at
the past year.
19.
I happen to know that
18.
That 2020 isn't even posted yet. NCAA obviously tracks all of that. We've got a bet at the office about what the 2020 attendance would be for all of college football, and they still have not updated the stats for even 2020. So who knows when we'll get those stats updated. Let's look at the Coliseum.
But those were regulated by individual schools. Like, OU only did 30% capacity or whatever. That was in the 2020 season when I got moved to the crappy side of the field over in the southeast corner.
Well, that was...
Everybody knows that North End Zone is the only place to watch football.
Where you are to figure out, who was governing it for the
Section 16.
For the goofy-ass state of California.
Shout out Section 16 out there.
Wow, L.A. Memorial Coliseum, 78,467. So...
And it's not very full.
That is amazing. It's that small. I thought it was much bigger than that.
Some of those pictures you saw when the band is on the field doing the pregame.
Oh, it's so sad.
Which is 10 minutes before kickoff.
So sad.
And there's not 15,000 people in the stands. It's embarrassing.
Okay, so in 2008, the LA Dodgers and Boston Red Sox set a Guinness World Record for the largest attendance ever at a baseball game with a crowd of 115,300 at the Coliseum. So obviously baseball can bring in a lot more.
Well, when they change
temporary
when they change the field around.
But so you're looking at 78,000. So whatever it is, I would be surprised if it's a 50% bump. I'd be impressed by a 50% bump in average attendance. If using like 2019 as a baseline.
So if you think they can get it up to 50,000,
I'd be impressed. I'd be surprised.
I think there will be buzz, but as soon as they lose 1 or 2 games, it'll just drop again.
And depending on what they're
very fair weather.
What Rose Bowl's only 91,000.
I mean, we went to the Rose Bowl game.
It depends what kind of
all 3 of us.
What kind of offense they actually put together. Is it
and who's on the
is it high flying and exciting, or are they struggling?
Yeah. By 2 games in, if they're struggling, it's going to be pretty quick for people to say, "I got better things to do."
2019, we all 3 went to and Connor went to the UCLA OU game, and it was 2/3 full, probably. No.
Yeah. It wasn't.
You don't think it was 2/3?
I don't think it was half full.
I mean, there was the student section in the end zone was pretty empty.
We go look at those pictures. I don't think it was half full.
It was 60% OU fans.
Yeah, I don't think it was half full. Those end zones were empty.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if it was half full, but I mean,
we definitely dominated.
We'll look it up and see what their historic has been. We know it's pretty bad. I just don't.
It was a great video.
I don't think they're going to have a lot of people there, but we'll see. I hope they have a lot of people there. I hope they have a sellout crowd for the first game, and they look absolutely ridiculous. And the next game is a ridiculous crowd.
Caleb went there for player development because
they developed those great quarterbacks. So if you look at quarterback development, it's a little hard to give Lincoln too much credit on the different quarterback developments.
Well, as quickly as you can take credit for it, you can start to lose your credibility too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if Caleb does not become something. Lincoln he's in real trouble. The whole guru stat will be gone.
No,
he has 3 quarterbacks starting in the NFL.
Bloom is off the rose at that point.
2 of them made the playoffs.
One of them had one season with him and had as much more success at the school he was at before than he did at OU.
Yeah.
And I think you got 2 generational talents and 2 of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in the history of college football that we could have coached pretty well.
Yeah.
Any of us. So we'll see. I wish him nothing but failure.
I think the people in Cleveland were really hoping these 2 they turned it around. They were hoping that Baker Mayfield was Joe Burrow.
He needs to get the hell out of Cleveland because Cleveland sucks. Ohio sucks.
Baker Mayfield was Joe Burrow.
And he needs to go to some place that can actually win and actually seriously.
Well, let's look at Lincoln's hand-picked high school quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Austin Kendall.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Mordecai.
The Robeson kid who had off the field issues and went to FIU or FAU
he
or
went
somebody.
To 3
second chance use.
Yeah. Kendall.
Well, no, we already said Kendall.
Oh, we said first. Mordecai who had a good season elsewhere.
Yeah.
3 years here.
Coach.
Under
lesser competition as well, though.
Spencer Rattler.
Rattler and Caleb.
Yep.
Caleb's obviously the book's still out.
What's funny is how much are those guys, all of them, various levels of a Texas Tech type of quarterback. Where if you look at a guy like Mahomes, who has obviously been phenomenal, probably is a little overrated, as great as he is, but he stands out as different than the Texas Tech mold. And then Baker does too, and Baker couldn't cut it there. Baker, in a weird way, like he was too good and indifferent. And so it's funny, these other guys that Lincoln recruited from high school were very much Texas Tech-like quarterbacks, and you could say he had Texas Tech-like kind of successes.
Yep. It's interesting, too, that Caleb Williams was not his first choice. Vandegrift was his first choice.
Yeah.
At quarterback.
That's right. That's a good point.
Then Vandegrift switched, went to Georgia. Caleb Williams
hasn't seen the field.
Came on. Vandegrift has not gotten on the field at Georgia.
Not gotten the field, and
the guy that played over him is a walk-on.
Yeah,
that's right.
Essentially.
And Caleb
won a national championship.
As much came to Lincoln as Lincoln recruited him. He wanted to play for Lincoln. He saw things. He wanted to be a part of that.
The draft. Period.
Yeah.
I mean.
So it'll be a lot of interesting things to see how they play out.
They have not panned out well.
No.
And if I hope Rattler does well.
I do too. Isn't that weird?
If he doesn't...
What a phenomenal turn of events that whole thing has been. Go ahead if he hasn't.
If he doesn't, I mean, it'll just be another mark on Lincoln. It's just, you just...
Absolutely.
Can't evaluate.
What if he turns everything around, but Beamer gets the credit?
He should get the credit.
He should.
Yeah, I agree.
He will. I think he will.
Oh,
you can't flame out under Lincoln Riley, then go succeed somewhere else.
In the SEC.
And not give credit to that guy. Yeah. So
if you're going to take credit for Jalen Hurts and for Kyler Murray, then it has to go the other way.
Great point.
What if Austin Stogner turns into Mark Andrews?
He might.
Oh, that will be disgusting to see.
That will be very frustrating. So what a story. Spencer Rattler, we're so excited about him coming in. We see all these videos of him throwing the ball behind his back. And
I hated those, by the way, and I said you shouldn't be practicing crap like that.
I think all of us olds felt that way.
I thought it was a good chance to throw your arm out. That is the kind of weird stuff that you actually pull a muscle and you all of a sudden are in some kind of a Tommy John surgery or something.
You need to be standing there throwing regular freaking routes all the time.
Well, apparently so. And then, obviously, he comes in, and it's a mixed season in 2020. It is a very rough start in 2021. He gets benched and replaced by the new hero. And then here we are, after all of that said and done, and we are absolutely rooting for Spencer Rattler to have a great season and for Caleb Williams.
Well, I think part of Rattler is, him just apparently the way that he is. He doesn't come off that well to everybody. Not that we've all spoken to him or something. But, two, the NIL being fresh, it was just a lot for everyone to absorb and take in and get used to.
And he was very
And he was right in the front of it, and he had his own logos and
his diamond
thigh pads, and
logo.
It's just like, dude, you've got to... And everyone said it early, too, like...
He was the number one draft pick coming into this year. What are you talking about?
If you do not win games and you have your own logos, your own this,
it looks bad.
It is going to be an interesting time for college athletes.
Yeah.
And
I think
we all know how it went.
Yeah.
And now Caleb's
he's really himself right in the middle of it.
Oh, he's gone way above and beyond what Rattler did.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, a Caleb Williams
Good Morning America.
Yeah.
A Caleb Williams
how many house moms are watching that? Changed the channel when he came.
Everybody was like, "Who the hell is this?"
Yeah. I know, and or who cares that they like him? So they fall in love with him, and they're going to tell their husbands about it. And this is very sexist to say this, but the person who doesn't watch college football, is watching Good Morning America, sees it, goes and tells their spouse, who does watch college football, or their friend, "Hey, I just saw this Caleb Williams," and they're going to say, "Yeah, that kid actually hasn't done anything."
Yeah, he went 5-2 last
year. Yeah. So. No, that's pretty interesting. I thought immediately, I shared it with you guys, the Todd Marinovich story, and it just the irony of it also being USC. This kid that was absolutely groomed by his weirdo father to be the next NFL star.
People said that about Kyler Murray's dad too.
That's true. Oh, I'm sure there's a million fathers that you could say that about, but nobody took it to the extent that Marinovich's dad did. He was
That's
insane.
a classic example.
From
I think he watched like every bite of food that went into his body.
Right, and he teethed them on the frozen livers and shit. Yeah. So, no, I mean, and I'm not saying that Carl Williams is like this. It's his name, right, Carl?
Yeah.
But I do think that he set his son up into a difficult situation, and I think they have jumped at short-term money and passed up long-term opportunity by going to USC. Because I think he's going to scramble to get back to where his ceiling was at OU. To be in the position he would be in coming out of OU in a couple of years, draft status-wise and everything else.
I think it's going to take him 2 years to get to the point that he would have been after this year. So he's
probably true.
To
he's
me,
probably an extra year in college.
Moving, it's costing him a year of development.
Very well.
Because he's probably going to be running for his life. Although the Pac-12 sucks. He's not going to have an offensive line like we would probably have coming this year.
Think about the wear and tear. Think about the risk of injury.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't like to run either.
No,
I don't think he does. I think that's why he didn't stay. I think Levy doesn't mind his guys running, and I don't think he wants to run.
He was quick to run in some things. I don't know. He's a physical kid.
I don't think he wanted to go.
Maybe
he could have taken 6 yards.
Well, I think he might want to be pro style. He might want or
he definitely wants to be pro style.
He does not want to take. I bet they have a hit count number. Him and his dad.
That probably is true.
Or his dad does. Dad's probably like, he took 14 hits this game.
I could see something like that. That's all remains to be seen. Unfortunately, this will remain a podcast where we'll be talking about Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams for quite a while, and these other guys, but we're going to focus on OU more so and more so. We'll have more to talk about. We're going to have some more pods here in this off season. Some good topics coming up on our most memorable OU games, maybe some games that if we had to choose games to never have attended, and which ones we would actually sacrifice, it'd be a fun topic. We'll definitely get back to the Blue Bloods topic.
Yep.
Who are the best teams in the history of football and all of that. I want Connor to be here for that part, and him to weigh in. Anything else for the
for all you that have been begging for a new podcast, here it is. And we're also still looking for questions. So if you know us personally, send us a text or fire off a tweet and say, hey, I want you guys to talk about this on your next podcast or something along those lines. We're always happy for listener questions.
That's a great suggestion. All right. Well, until next time.
Boomer.
Boomer.